In a region already fraught with tension, the latest developments out of Tehran and Washington have raised fresh alarms. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, speaking recently about the nuclear talks and regional diplomacy, signalled a strategic shift while simultaneously reinforcing hard lines that many Western capitals had hoped were eroding. He said firmly, "We cannot engage with those who have attacked the Iranian people." In context, this was his explanation for the government's absence from the Gaza Peace Summit convened in Egypt earlier this year, a notable diplomatic snub at a gathering meant to shape the future of the Middle East. That decision, while couched in principled language, nonetheless revealed Iran's calculation. Showing up would have meant directly confronting the very framework that Tehran believes excludes its influence. The consequence? A self-imposed isolation from a regional order in the making. Araghchi also addressed the nuclear dimension, stating bluntly, "The same bully has been demonizing Iran's peaceful nuclear program and threatening further strikes on our safeguarded nuclear facilities." The bully he referred to is the United States. The threat he referenced is rooted in repeated US warnings about Iran's enrichment program and Tehran's ballistic missile activities. Despite Tehran's declared willingness to engage in nuclear dialogue, its insistence on preserving enrichment and missile capabilities while rejecting any direct talks with Washington under US defined unacceptable conditions sets a high bar. The minister reaffirmed, "We are willing to discuss concerns with Western nations, but rule out any compromise on the ballistic missile program."
بر اساس این توافق باید تاکید بکنم که هیچ دسترسی به بازرسان آژانس الان داده نمیشه مگر با موردی که بحث نیروگاه بوشهر که به خاطر تعویض سوختش ما بنا به مصوبه شورای عالی امنیت ملی دسترسی داده شده بود و الان هم جریان داره. نفس این توافق هیچ دسترسی رو ایجاد نمیکنه. ایران بر اساس گزارشاتی که ایران در آینده خواهد داد نوع دسترسی ها باید مورد مذاکره قرار بگیره در زمان خودش. در مورد شکل بازرسی ها و دسترسی هایی که آژانس باید داشته باشن در این توافق هیچ صحبتی نشده، موکول شده به مذاکرات جداگانه‌ای که در آینده صورت خواهد گرفت بعد از اینکه ایران گزارش خودش رو ارائه بکنه.
Meanwhile, Tehran's posture toward Gaza has only underscored its pivot to alliances in the so-called resistance axis. In supportive remarks about the recently brokered Gaza peace deal, Iran emphasized that what occurred was more than a truce. It represented strategic leverage. One conservative Iranian journalist phrased it this way: "The myth of Israel's deterrence has been shattered." Heavy-handed and provocative, yet that is exactly the tone Tehran appears to favor. From Washington's side, the re-election of President Trump in January 2025 and the ensuing US posture in the Middle East have injected fresh urgency. Trump personally has framed the Gaza deal as a milestone, viewing it not simply as ending a war, but as a lever to reset US influence and to oblige regional actors to fall in line. Israeli officials, by contrast, have expressed caution and a sober realism about Tehran's long game. In Tehran, these developments are viewed through a different lens. The absence of an Iranian delegation at the summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, the Iranian capital's refusal to countenance discussions on missile halt terms, and its broader embrace of Hamas as a regional proxy all point toward a strategic posture of asymmetry. Iran will not openly lead the battlefield, but will shape its contours. Arguably the most surprising move of all, even as Iran publicly supported the Gaza truce, it has quietly leveraged the moment to reassert nuclear red lines. Araghchi recently warned that the world saw only a fraction of Iran's power during the 12-day war with Israel in June. The implication: Tehran considers the negotiation space insufficiently respectful of its regional role, and that any new deal must reflect that calculation. For Israel and the United States, this remains a dual threat dynamic. On one hand, the battlefield in Gaza. On the other, a nuclear ballistic axis of tension that has not evaporated. The stated purpose of Western diplomacy curbing enrichment and weakening Iran's missile shield is met in Tehran with equal parts defiance and opportunism. Araghchi's narrative is consistent. Iran will talk only on its terms, even as it embraces the optics of a peace deal, in which its regional proxies gained. The strategic takeaway is clear. Iran wants to appear engaged, but it will not give. As one Iranian official put it, with characteristic bluntness, cooperation with the US is not possible while it backs Israel. That leaves the region in a delicate in-between state, a ceasefire in Gaza, yes, but a wider war of influence and deterrence very much ongoing. The ballast of international diplomacy has shifted. What remains is who will weigh more in the balance. In sum, the Gaza peace deal and the nuclear file cannot be treated in isolation. They are entwined. For Iran, the former serves as tactical momentum, the latter as strategic posture. For Israel and the United States, the challenge is navigating a moment of truce while bracing for the next move in the grand chessboard of Middle East geopolitics, one where Tehran insists it will not be sidelined.
آمریکایی‌ها میگن گاهی البته همیشه نه گاهی میگن مایلیم با ایران همکاری کنیم همکاری با ایران با همکاری و کمک به رژیم صهیونی ملعون سازگار نیست با این وضع همراهی با ایران معنی نداره قابل قبول نیست بله اگر چنانچه به کلی پشتیبانی از رژیم صهیونیستی رو کنار بگذاره پایگاه نظامیشو از اینجا جمع کنه دخالت در این منطقه نداشته باشه اون وقت میشه بررسی کرد مسائل رو مال حالا نیست مال آینده نزدیک هم نیست
این علم در درون این دانشمندان ماست با خراب کردن ساختمان‌ها و کارخانه‌ها ما مشکل پیدا نخواهیم کرد دوباره خواهیم ساخت و با قدرت بیشتری خواهیم ساخت